Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where today we're going to be talking about India v South Africa. There's been a lot of talk on the field. There's been an amazing Pant century. There's another thrilling chase, and a bunch more as well. I'm Jack Hope. I'm joined by Ross Legg. Ross, you look like a I've forgotten the word for it. It's in churches. You get like Jesus lit up from behind because he's
sunlit.
Yeah. It's not sunlit. I didn't forget the word sunlit. It's it's church specific. It doesn't matter. It's probably not the audience, is it? Let's face it. South Africa v India. We know the demographic for these shows. Not a lot of people who who spend time in the churches of Lombardia or whatever. You're here. How you doing, Ross?
All right, mate. I'm all right. It's nice that Test cricket is still alive and well, and we've got another cracker in this series, which is amazing.
It is another cracker, isn't it? It is another cracker, and I've been enjoying this one from afar. I'm not from afar. I've watched a lot of it, but we've been doing daily shows, haven't we? We're kind of picking and choosing our moment, and I think we've got a hell of a moment today. Ross, what are the messages for the listeners before we get into two moments?
Well, if you're watching us on YouTube, you should like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. We're so close to 10,000 people supporting our show, which is fantastic. And then you should also follow us at the Cricket Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And we are revamping our Patreon membership. So we've been engaging with our Patreon members over the last kind of couple of weeks to kind of determine what they want to see. The powers that be of Jack, Max, and Ross will be kind of updating those in the coming week. You should be joining, and that's what patreon.com/the cricket podcast.
Yeah, patreon.com/the cricket pod. We're sponsorless for the first time in a little while, so if you wanna jump on there, that would be the ideal time to do it. To be honest,
yeah, absolutely
spot on. If you could support us that way. Lan was the last Patreon still, so it's been like 5 days. We only had one person sign up. Disgraceful. Getting there. We've got some special content planned for Patreons, which is basically more of us. So if you like this for some reason, then you can get more of it there. Ross, am I doing the summary here? Am I supposed to summarise?
You're going to summarise today. But I mean, first and foremost, Jack, I think we should recognise that this has been an absolute cracker. And I know this is ridiculous, but for some reason, who would have thought that India or South Africa would be like the best set of Test matches, following kind of Bangladesh climbing Everest and then literally just jumping off and dying against New Zealand. So
we've done what we come here for. It has been a surprise classic. I mean, I think India away in general are their box office, aren't they? I was trying to think about like an analogy for this. I was thinking like Star Wars away from home. I hate Star Wars, so it doesn't really work. But away from home, India are like the original Star Wars trilogy. People love it. It's epic. It's like nothing people have seen before. Every single one's a classic. There's twists. There's turns. Who's Kohli's father? I don't know. But I'm sure it'll be revealed. At home, it's like the new trilogy, Phantom Menace. Boring as shit. You know, only the real hardcore fans can sit through that. But yeah, you know, we've got original Star Wars here with India. And now I'm just going to read some numbers after that. I should have put more effort into the summary and less effort into thinking about Star Wars.
You're no Max Rowe Brown, mate.
No. India batted first. They scored 223. Virat Kohli was good. I don't know if you saw this. I don't know, you know, as a cricket fan, whether that crossed your radar. He nearly got 100, but then he ran out of batting partners, which was quite funny. It was a very Kohli, last 2 years Kohli thing to happen. Get 79, and no one can hang with him. Rahane fails again, which is usual. South Africa then they reply, and it's a similar story here, except the part of Kohli is played by Keegan Peterson, which is a turn up for the books, to say the least. He gets 72. South Africa are bowled out for 210. They surrender a first innings lead. That's bad. Everyone knows that's bad. India come out to bat though, and they I don't really know what they decide to do. I don't think they really decide to do anything good. 10-7-9, 29-1, their top five. More of the same, basically. I think Kohli scores his 29 for 143 balls. I'm not sure what point he was trying to prove. He was very disciplined in the first innings. He only drove at stuff that was really full. It was kind of like new era Kohli. This I think was a bit too extreme. This was like Dom Sibley Kohli. Nobody will. I would rather Kohli failed gloriously than did this, and was somewhat useful.
It's almost like a cross between Rahane and Pujara, actually just in the middle of those two. Like he's batted kind of like Pujara, had a couple of nice shots that Rahane would play. But yeah, he was dogged in his determination. I think we can come on to Kohli in a little bit once we finish the summary. Yeah,
Rishabh Pant, he did all of the runs basically. Now there's two other guys got 10 or more. KL Rahul, King Legend, continues his good form. Kohli 29. Rishabh Pant is 100 off 139 balls.
A different game, isn't he?
Four balls less than Kohli. He scored most of that 100 sitting on his arse in like proper Rishabh Pant style. But it was a fantastic 100. He was dropped twice near the end, but he was sort of hitting out. So yeah, I'm not going to hold that against him. And absolutely unbelievable innings. India's, I mean, we laugh about England in this kind of situation. 28 extras, which is a pretty strong performance from extras. And then South Africa bat. And it looks like, to be honest, on this pitch, against this bowling attack, it looked like it would be a bit of a struggle for South Africa. But they finished the day 101 for 2. Markram gets caught a second sip. Great catch from KL Rahul. Keegan Peterson finishes not out on 48. And Dean Elgar 30 off 96. I don't think there's anything else to say about that innings. I don't think anything interesting at all happened after tea. Ross, where do you want to start with the I've given you the facts, the numbers. Now we're going to, that's the elevator pitch for Star Wars 4, or whichever one it is. I don't even know what they're called. The one with Mark Hamill. You've heard it.
Well, we're not going to go down the Star Wars thing anymore, mate. Don't worry about it. So I think let's keep the listeners entertained, keep the viewers entertained by teasing them that we'll talk about the DRS controversy a little bit later on in the show.
Yeah.
I think first of all, we need
only
to
if they like it. Only if they like it on YouTube. Yeah. Let's set a target. If we get 30 likes, we'll think about talking about it.
I'll like it, by the way. So 5,000 people told everybody that this is the first time in Test history that all wickets have been taken caught. Which did you see that? Literally, it was like one person figured it out, and everyone just copied and pasted it.
I did see this. Sorry, I just got a warning there, Ross. I think you're coming through okay. That my internet is unstable. It's my end. Okay. The internet problem, but it's okay. We're back now. 20 catches out of 20 wickets. That is pretty extraordinary stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it just shows you kind of the kind of pitch. I think the kind of play you're going for, and it's it's just a bit of a freak kind of occurrence, right? The first team ever to do it, but that's not what I really want to focus on. My focus really is around the difference in approaches that there's kind of been taken. You've seen Pujara and Rahane obviously under the microscope at the moment. Kohli trying to find his way back into form, and in that first innings, my Bikram in our cricket group for I Don't Like Cricket Club, he said this was the day that Kohli was going to hit a century, right? He, like 2 days ago, he was just like, this is what's going to happen. And it looked on, and he talked about him running out of batting partners. I know we're trying to do a bit of a daily summary, but it was a new, I don't want to say a new era, but it was definitely a new approach. And I think Vic London in the chat kind of put, is this kind of Rahul Dravid's impact on Kohli's batting style?
Is Kohli going to become the wall? Ross, continue with this thought. I'm just going to move my internet box because sometimes that fucks things up. It's okay now, but keep going.
Yeah, that's actually fine. And I think when it comes to kind of Virat's approach, he's been getting out so cheaply outside the off stump because he's playing almost like that sixth set of stumps almost. And in this innings, that what just happened, that he did it again. Like you don't sit there and go through 140 odd deliveries just to throw it away. And that's what it kind of felt like a little bit today. And I'm not sure if the guys in the chat will kind of agree with me there, but this was a real opportunity missed for him. And I think that bit around not having, he was batting with Pant, right? He was batting there, and it was just like he had the opportunity to actually make it work. And I think on this occasion, like, he's been left wanting, and now India they're up against it. I think it's South Africa are in the driving seat here. I mean, even losing Dean Elgar in the last ball of the day, I think that India are really, really going to struggle to win this from here.
Yeah, sure. That's a big blow for South Africa, but I generally agree with that. I think 110 with 8 wickets in hand, even on a spicy deck, you are in the driving seat. Right. That's Kohli. That's Kohli off the docket. Where do you want to go now? So we found out. I can't. What was it you were calling Pujara and Rahane last week?
Rahane.
That means old in Hindi. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Yeah, so you learn something, don't you? Doing this. Do you want to talk about those two? That seems to be an ongoing thing for this podcast.
Yeah, so my view is that I think we ruminated around this kind of when England were playing against India, and it was around is this now India's time to be the best Test cricketing nation? And I know that New Zealand won the World Test Championship, but kind of finished that cycle. And India, like as you say, unbelievably dominant at home, but travelling, like they've also been so competitive. And like winning in South Africa was their like final nadir, wasn't it? Really, it was like their bit of going, and you can see how much it means to South Africa that they don't want to kind of fall to that, but also how much it means to India to do this. And my view on it is, have India stuck to their blueprint a little bit too much and been a bit? I mean, is there such a thing as being too loyal? Maybe there is, but I feel sometimes you need to look at refreshing some of the batting lineup in a team, and they've lost obviously Rohit Sharma kind of opening up, and that's a big loss at the top of the order. Who was in, let's be honest, supreme form over the last kind of 12 months. He's won them so many Test matches, and I think here it was around they had the opportunity to bring in some fresh blood like Shreyas Iyer, who has that hunger, who has that desire, and is playing with confidence. I think Pujara and Rahane, although they batted well together in the last Test match to kind of give something to chase, it's just not been quite enough. And what that mental bit around playing for your place every single Test match, and the scrutiny that you get from the Indian media, from the Western media, from every single angle, let alone what's happening inside your own camp, I think is detrimental to the performance they want to put out there. And I think it's a missed opportunity for Kohli, even KL Rahul when he was captain last time, to look at refreshing some of this and injecting a bit of spice into the team.
Yeah, I think it will be the end of the road for Rahane. I think they'll keep Pujara around like a lucky coin. Why not? They're gone. Rishabh Pant, he is the man of the day, wasn't he?
Big time. What a player! What a player!
It's interesting with him, isn't it? He goes just long enough to trick everyone into thinking that maybe he isn't very good, and then scores 100 in out of 190 on a pitch where the rest of the batting lineup are like 75 for 9 or something like that. When you take away extras, it's and it's taken them like 500 balls to get that 75. It was out of this world. I mean, towards the end, obviously he was farming the strike. He was just playing like a shot of ball and like smoking the ball along the floor to boundary fielders like it was nobody's business. He wasn't even leaving it. You know, normally when someone's farming the strike, if they get a bouncer and they're not planning to hit it into the crowd, they leave it alone. They get out of the way of it. They look to score off this. You know, they try and pick their one up later in the over. It was like first ball of the over, bouncer, whack, hook shot all along the floor to a boundary fielder, no run. It was one of the most in control innings at points when he wasn't trying to score runs that I've ever seen. At other times, you know, he was falling over on his backside a lot. Trying things. He wasn't just completely incapable of standing up. He was just
wasn't drunk at the crease, was he?
There was one shot which he hit for 4 through the covers. Then he set off to point to like run. I can't, quick cricket. He was doing it as a joke. He was just like, he's hit that for 4, and then he just started completing runs towards point. Really, very Rishabh Pant. There was another thing he did. Oh yeah, he launched his bat at the umpire. Not like I
did enjoy this. Yeah, the ball has gone to the square point boundary, and his bat has gone about 30 yards towards fine leg. It was ridiculous.
But overall, I mean that was thrilling, exhilarating batting. As we sort of come to expect from Pant. When he gets going, he really is a treat. We just sort of wish he'd get going more.
I think it is difficult. I think there's a lot of people who were saying, like, questioning his place in the team beforehand, saying Saha should have played in this match. I don't think Saha should ever play for India. That's a different thing for that. But you have to go with Pant and being like the live and die by the sword. I think sometimes Pant makes the wrong decision, but today nobody else has batted like this. As you said, like everyone else is 75 for 9. He's come out, sees the opportunity, and sometimes he's going to get out for less than 10. Other times he's going to do something like this. And you saw just the brazen attitude and I think we called him Pikachu when he was playing here before, like just that ball of energy that he has at the crease. And he just electrifies everything that's going on around him. And so many people go, oh, Pant's not really a test match cricket player. England wish Joss Buttler was this.
Yeah, they'd like it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I generally think they think that role should be. And if he doesn't play this way and he tries to play test match style or this is the proper way you play cricket, India get rolled for 110 or 120. It's game over.
They're definitely in major danger. What have they got now? 25-30% chance of winning. They've probably lost already.
It depends how good. It depends.
If he just hung around. You know, because no one was scoring any runs. I mean, he could have got 30 not out off 130. He could have done. He could have scored. Could have played the same way as Kohli, the correct way, and he'd have finished with a not out, and India would have about a 25-30 run lead right now.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be good enough, right? And I think Pant needs that respect. I think of being one of like his performances in the last couple of years. No other Indian wicketkeeper has ever got a century. Australia, South Africa, or England. He's got a century in all three. The guy travels well. He's a serious asset to this side, and I think he needs to be treated as such. And I think that's why you put up with the somewhat crazy things that he does sometimes.
Here's a more general question: why do you think India keep hitting the ball in the air?
Would blame the IPL, blame the 100. Don't know where do you want to start?
It's you'd have thought in the whole history of Test cricket somebody would have been out all 20 times, caught. Bad sentence, but you get what I mean. It's the first time it happened. Yeah. I know it's like some freak stuff's happened. It's a bouncy pitch. The South African bowlers are all about 9 foot tall, so it's probably difficult to like ride the bounce and stuff. But you'd think somebody would just get bowled for the sake of it. Strange. I think I'm thinking about it. I'm pretty sure 7 of the 12 South African wickets to fall have been caught. So maybe it's not that weird. Maybe more. Yeah, maybe 8 or 12.
I think you raise a good point around the seam attack of South Africa. Right, Rabada has been on fire. Like the guy is amazing. Like real purple patch of form. Like brilliant. I think some of the contribution from Janssen, like. I think it's 19 wickets he's taken at 16.5, pretty much. And Geedy taken 15 wickets at 15. Rabada's taken 20 wickets at 19. Like that is a trio. You're taking that every day of the week, and you're coming up against a bunch of South Africa seamers who are doing very well. I mean, Oliver has been down on pace, hasn't looked great, coming back from an injury, coming back from COVID or whatever it has been. They clearly, if they had Norkia in this lineup, that is causing any kind of bowling lineup, any kind of batting lineup, problems. And the Indian bowling lineup is just as fearsome, right? Shami's bowling really well. Bumrah is Bumrah. I think Umesh Yadav, as much as he was a little bit expensive, still took a couple of wickets in the first innings and ably supports it. And I think, as you've seen in the series so far, even Shardul Thakur, he makes things happen, right? He took 7 wickets the other day. So it's a great face-off between these seam lineups. And that's not even mentioning Siraj. So the difference being is their height of delivery, like you talk about. And I think you saw when Kyle Jamieson was attacking kind of some of the Indian bowlers in the World Test Championship final, it was the bounce that was doing it. It was the release point that they were talking about. So yeah, perhaps it's almost like you have to bat like you're playing in Australia and be looking to leave on length as much as possible.
Maybe, right. Let's talk about the main event. I'm going to ask you straight up. Did you think it was out? Do you think it's out?
I did. When I would have given it out if I was the umpire on the field. I'm giving it out.
But like now that you have the evidence, Do you
No.
still think it's out?
No, I don't think it's out.
No, I don't
Like
think it's
the
out either.
evidence, the evidence to me is that the Hawkeye goes through it. Hawkeye does whatever calculations it's doing. You're not getting some bloke like just
It's not
calibrating it
doing
so South Africa
crayon,
win, are
yeah.
you? Yeah, it's not just being like, oh, we go and just it's just not. It's, yeah, you're not in Paint. You're not in Microsoft Paint, are you? Fucking doing it. I don't think it's out now. I thought the reaction was absolutely hilarious, though.
The reaction is probably the funniest thing I've seen on a cricket field since, don't know, the 54th duck of the year or something. It's Rory Burns getting bowled first ball of the Ashes was hilarious. Since then, so it's a good 2 months since I've had a good old laugh like that. Some of the reactions: on-field umpire Marai Erasmus says that is impossible. So people are like, that's ridiculous. Look, even the umpire thinks it's out. Well, so obviously he thinks it's out. He gave it out.
Yeah.
He's the one person in this whole. That's an absolutely fine reaction. If anything, that confirms what you want. You want umpires to be giving things out when they think it's out, and then be very surprised when they're wrong. If he was like, yeah, I thought it might have been a bit high, you'd be like, well, why did you give it out in the first place? So he gets a pass on this. Ashwin, he goes to the top of his mark, and he's like spinning the ball in his hand. Then he's like, no, I've got something to say. And he strides up to the stumps, and you think, this is Ashwin, this is going to be good. He says, you should find better ways to win Supersport. Ashwin has become a conspiracy theorist. I like his YouTube channel. I like, everything he says. Most everything he says. You should find better ways to win Supersport. Ashwin there is directly accusing the host broadcaster of falsifying a DRS projection in about 1 minute 30.
Yeah,
it's a pretty bold statement to make.
I'm just saying that it is. And I mean, just look at what look. There's no point. The more shit you throw at each other, the more it's just going to stick, right? Some of this stuff. Do we remember back when we were playing in Ahmedabad, where England went to review a court, and it came off of Rahane's glove?
That's a good point. That actually was out. This one wasn't out.
And that was out. And the umpire, the TV guys just refused to show the fucking replay of it. You can't have it both ways, right? And I think there is a little bit here around like the reaction from Kohli. Like we've talked about it before, like his passion is absolutely amazing. It energizes the side, and especially when you're kind of up against it, that is what you want in a captain. You want someone who's going to G everybody up.
Do you want to know what Kohli said?
I would love to know if you've got a transcript. Yes, please.
Yeah, I've got it all up here. Focus on your team as well, and not just the opposition, trying to catch people all the time. I don't think that's really what they were trying to do here, Supersport. You might not like some of their camera angles or whatever, but they didn't even provide this. This is Hawkeye. They're an external data company has come in and done this. You can't have a pop at Supersport. KL Rahul, whole country playing against 11 guys. It's the same thing. Kohli, well done. DRS, very well done. Mayank Agarwal, not good. You are making the sport look bad now. This is all caught on stump mic. Making the sport look bad. Probably directed at the host broadcast, that one. Yeah, I thought it was a little bit ludicrous. You're saying there Kohli gets people going. I think they completely lost their heads, to be honest. I think that's some of this sounds completely insane.
That was the next point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the point I was kind of building to. It's like, he's India's captain. Like he's got how many cricket, that classic case of how many cricket fans are following this, and how many of those people are going to be influenced by what the Indian cricket team captain is doing. And he is shouting into a stump like he's doing some awful like karaoke impression. And it's a bit like, you're not in control here. And like the elite sportsmen is all of it, especially cricket. Like it's about being in control and owning that narrative. Like I just found it a little bit silly. But the evidence is there. Like I don't think it's a case of being like, oh well, we completely disagree with all this technology. Okay, right, the trajectory, it might be off. Might be having a bad day, this technology. But how far is it genuinely going to be off? The guy gets a good stride in. It hits him on the knee roll.
This is the other thing. He's not trapped on the crease here. He's like hit 2-3 meters from the stumps. It's a long way from the stumps. So and obviously it's below the knee roll. But if you're not, part of the reason I asked you that question about why the ball keeps going in the air is because it sets up the fact that this is a bouncy as shit wicket. Like it's
little trampoline.
Yeah, it was put the join the dots a little bit. It's frustrating. Like everyone over, nobody wants Nobody wants a decision overturned when you're chasing a win, particularly when it's Dean Elgar, who's probably South Africa's best batter by a distance. Although Keegan Peterson has suddenly turned into Don Bradman, so yeah, who knows there?
But it's that bit like, and it does work out, right? Like Karma, it was there. Like he got strangled down the leg side. It was unlucky potentially, like to be given out there return, and people kind of talk about that. But in the end, getting strangled down the leg side is always an unlucky dismissal. Like regardless of what you say, like that being strangled like that is never like one of those things we just like. Every commentator, every pundit, every player is saying that's unfortunate. So it worked out.
Ross, people are really desperate for us to acknowledge that Kohli was talking about ball shining. He was, but he was kicked off by this DRS thing. Like he wasn't doing that before. He was being, normal, intense Kohli. Next thing you know, he's shouting at a stump about some perceived ball shining issue. South Africa didn't take their wickets through reverse swing, by the way. If it was reverse swing, it would be all LBW and bowled. They took the wickets because the ball was bouncing a lot,
and they played some bad shots.
Yeah, it's not. It was like super funny. I hope there's still some needle tomorrow. We've got a few questions, Ross, but before we get to them, who's going to win?
I think South Africa said earlier, like they're in the driving seat, aren't they? Really, but the bowling lineup for India is brilliant. Like having Bumrah in this side is just it's a cheat code. He's so good. Like Shami's got so much control, and both of them are right arm over bowlers or right arm fast bowlers. They both offer something really different, and I think on this pitch that is quite a big ask for some of the South African batsmen to play against. And I think once you get through like Rassie van der Dussen and Temba Bavuma, there's not too much in this side. Like the wicketkeeper replacement for Quinton de Kock hasn't shown that he's kind of up to this standard. It'd be a huge boon for him if he can do. I've been really impressed with Peterson, and as you say, like turning into Don Bradman's probably a little bit much. But he's got too many moving parts, isn't he? And that's what they said. Like, he's got quite a simple game. He knows his game. He's played plenty of cricket, and I think that will see through it. It's a day to be stand up and counted for both sides, and it'd be really interesting to see how much of an impact kind of someone like Ravi Ashwin plays on this now, because they have to go for it, but they've only got 100 runs to play with, so it should be a pretty tantalising tactical affair.
It hopefully will be pretty good. Hopefully it wraps up before our Rashes show at 12 o'clock tomorrow, by the way. Hopefully
we've got ex-England batsman Nick Compton coming on to the show tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So if you want to join us for our lunchtime show.
I think India are going to win. I think
India are going to win?
Yeah, I think the bowling is very good, and I think the pitch is pretty suspect, and I think South Africa only got 3 more batters. If you take 2 wickets, then you're into the tail.
Yeah, I agree. But there has been that bit though. Where Bavuma's been in good form this time. Peterson is looking good. All it takes is a partnership.
I think they need to get 60 of the runs. I think if it's for less than 50, if they lead less than 50 with 5 wickets in hand, they'll do it. But I just think India will have it. India will have it. They'll be really up for it. I mean, we're saying it. We're pretty neutral in this contest. We don't really care who wins. We can see clearly that there's not really been any cheating on either side. It's been a pretty fair contest. Wasn't out. If you're in the India team right now, there's no way you're sitting around being like, well, actually, having considered the replays and that side on one where you can see he's a long way down, probably he is not out LBW. No, you absolutely 100% are still going for the he's out and we've been cheated, and you'll have that siege mentality. We've talked about Kohli and Jose Mourinho. We normally talk about it with respect to some of his sort of crazy IPL interviews where he throws the rest of the team under the bus and stuff like that. The flip side of that applies too, though. I think he does foster an environment where he makes it feel, as KL Rahul said on Stump Mike, like a whole country v 11 men, and that's quite a formidable
mentality.
Yeah, formidable prospect for the South African batters to have to come out and deal with tomorrow, particularly on a pitch which is pretty quick and you might get hurt on. So who who knows what will happen. Ross, questions. And there's quite a few. Some people just giving us their opinion. So Cannon Fodder, Abel, Christopher Furness, Arian. I think we've covered all of your points, mainly around DRS. And thank you to Furness as well for telling us about the Crick Buzz tweet thread with all of the reaction on. Tom asks, and we'll wrap up the DRS section with this. Is Kohli getting away with this outburst unpunished? Do you think they're going to come for him?
Yeah, there'll be some demerit points around it. And Kohli's had some before. I'm not sure when they reset, if they do reset at all, actually. But yeah, I can see him getting some demerit points for that, and they might be handed out to Ashwin and some of the others as well. But that's part and parcel of cricket, I think. Without that passion and without that kind of losing your head, it's not sport. Everyone's entitled to do that for every now and again. So it makes for better viewing.
Mask asks, what are your thoughts on Keegan Peterson's batting? I think he looks really assured and technically sound. He'll have tougher challenges ahead, but has countered the good bowling attack well. I think he's been really quite impressive. You look at his performances the level below you. It doesn't look like somebody who's going to come in and be an amazing Test match number 3, but he certainly looks like he's stabilised that South African batting line up a little bit. I'd like to see South Africa more generally out there. He plays maybe a few too many shots.
It's just a bad series, isn't he? He's in a bit of a poor series.
That's true.
He had a great World Cup, different format, I know, but
yeah, I'd consider just moving him down to number. Now Quentin de Kock isn't in the middle order, and you won't have two people doing the same attacking role. I think maybe Markram drops down a little bit, although he probably fancies to challenge up the order. And Amar asked a question on India's bowling. How crap has Indians' bowling been outside of Shami and Bumrah? Ross, do you think it's been crap, or is that harsh?
I don't agree with that sentiment. I think again it comes back to England's problem with, if you don't hit enough runs, what have your bowlers actually got to work with? And it's quite difficult on tracks like this where people are going to play their shots. The ball is bouncing a little bit more, so you can put your hands through it a little bit. I thought Umesh Yadav has done a pretty decent job. Took a couple of wickets early on. Yeah, it went for about 4 and over, I think it was. But this time, has only bowled 2 overs. Shardul Thakur, everybody loves Shardul Thakur. And I just think, I think jumping on that bandwagon is a bit too soon. I think the problem is with the batting, not with the bowling.
It's like every Test team in the world, that, isn't it? Like, apart from New Zealand, who are okay, but they still lost to Bangladesh. And one of their legends retired the other day, didn't he? So maybe they're going to be joining the ranks. Lots of people want an answer on this. So Vijay, Akash, Arian, Amar, Chintan are all asking something along the lines of Pujara and Rahane. Ross, if you are the Indian selector, you talked about this a little bit at the last bit in the actual meat of the show. Are you retaining either? For say there's a theoretical 4th Test next week, India 2-1 up, battling to save their lead. Are you retaining one, both, neither?
I think Pujara's always got a job to do, especially overseas. I think he does. I think his style can suit it, and I think sometimes you need that kind of backs to the walls job. And I mean, I like Rahane. I think Rahane's had a great career. He's been a fantastic batsman for India. He's offered so much. But every now and again, you have to have a bit of rotation. And I thought it was pretty unfair on Shreyas Iyer not to have that opportunity to bat after he hit a debut century. And I think that rotation is actually really important for sports teams in general. Look at what Ferguson did at United. He wasn't having the same players all the time. He rotated through that and has sustained success because of that blueprint and because he bled in the team. And I think that was a missed opportunity for South Africa, for India in South Africa.
Yeah, I'm enjoying reading the comments here, Ross. Sorry, it's Arian, Vic, Chatil, the truth. There's a lot of theories. I do like this. I it's sport, isn't it? People get into it, and that's sort of the point of it. It's to give you an emotional vent and to allow you to access a world that is outside of the mundane. But do watch the conspiracy theories, lads. If anyone starts talking about the vaccine and how it's going to turn you into a robot, 5G, there's some buzzwords to look out for. That's all I'm saying. Be angry about the DRS decision, but let's not escalate this. Stay on the right side. Because
It's because Dean Elgar's had the vaccine. He's been boosted, and that was there. It's kind of gone up. Yeah. Do get vaccinated. By the way, that is a
get
good cricket
vaccinated.
podcast thing. But yeah, I think the stuff that they're kind of talking about around who's going to punish Kohli. I just think, but it's just following everyone else's rules, right? Plays well. I don't want people to get banned for that kind of stuff. I don't particularly care about them swearing. I think it's absolutely hilarious. They just embarrass themselves. They're not embarrassing the sport. They're not bringing the game into complete
But
disrepute,
this
are
is
they?
exactly what people want to see, by the way. Like when people are like, "Oh, this is disgraceful." It's not disgraceful. This is exactly what you want. People who care so much that they're prepared to shout at a stump in front of millions of people watching at home on the TV.
Exactly.
You want people who are that absorbed in what's going on that they will be a little bit insane for our entertainment.
Yeah, well, you saw it. You saw it for when Rabada was banned when we were over there.
Yeah,
when England were touring.
joke.
Like what? Like you're having a go at it because he's having a go at the batsman. You want a bowler coming in full fledged, going, "I'm going to absolutely kill this bloke with this delivery." That's what we want to watch. Like it's gladiatorial, and we want to see this kind of show that gets put on. People calling, "Oh, Kohli's a disgrace." Yeah, it was quite a disgraceful thing, but it was pretty funny.
But yeah, it was
I
disgraceful.
mean, he shouldn't
funny.
be banned from playing. Like
He didn't get his knob out
the guy
like Tim
needs
Payne.
the guy needs to hit. Yeah, the guy needs to hit a
That's actually
century.
a disgrace.
Yeah, he did.
You've got to look at these things. It's the shout at a stump fine.
Yeah, so it was.
Penis out problem. I think that's my take on that. That is my take on that. There's a couple of questions about the Ashes tomorrow, but juxtaposition. What you're talking about there, the Ashes hasn't really had any of that. It's two quite nice groups of people, one of which is getting annihilated. It's not. One team has been so out of the contest that nobody can even work themselves up to like sledge someone or bowl a bouncer. Really, formality. This though is like. This is top cricket. This is South Africa trying to defend their home territory. This is India, all conquering India. They're thinking, let's do Australia, England, South Africa, all of the bad boys of world cricket, places we traditionally struggle to go. Let's roll them, 1, 2, 3. And South Africa are like, no, you might have taken Australia, but don't give a shit about them. You might have taken England.
Yeah. Well, it's going to just sets up a great day tomorrow. Like the game will be finished tomorrow. It's going to be an absolute cracker, and I think we're, as I said, we're on lunchtime with Nick Compton, ex-England opener, who's hopefully be nice and loose with whatever comes out of the day's play, and we're looking forward to seeing what happens.
Cool. Right, Ross, let's wrap this up. Final reminder, patreon.com/thecricketpod. Keep us in business. Head over there. We'll say your name on the show. We do have some exclusive stuff planned, so get yourself in the mixer, because that's where you want to be, isn't it? The mixer. Goodbye. See you tomorrow. Done.